Wavering optimism, just as we, along with many other MLR fans, thought we were safe from a crazy offseason, we get hit with more bombshell news. The Houston Sabercats, founding members of Major League Rugby, are no more. On this week's episode of the Fantasy Ruckers Show, we react to that announcement, plus are joined by now former Houston Sabercats hooker Seth Smith to give us insight into this situation. The Fantasy Ruckers Show starts right now.
Where rugby and the world of fantasy sports collide. Welcome to the Fantasy Ruckers Show, bringing fantasy rugby to the masses, talking all things rugby from the MLR to leagues around the world. We're on top of it. Headphones on, pads off. This is the Fantasy Ruckers Show. Now, here are your hosts, Ryan Yee, Matt Yee, and Devin Vanderpool.
What's up, everybody? This is episode 168 of the Fantasy Ruckers Show. Thank you so much to our Fantasy Ruckers League members, our community members, and everyone else tagging along on this journey of making fantasy rugby a reality in MLR. And like I said in the teaser, we thought we were safe. We thought we were safe. We thought we came out on the other side and we were gonna go uphill from here. But
we were wrong.
We were wrong. We were wrong. And in case you were not in the know, there was one less in the MLR as it continues to go, which we are, of course, going to be the center of conversation here on this episode 168. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening on the podcast. Thank you for watching on YouTube if that's how you are consuming the Fantasy Rucker Show. Matt Yee, Devin Vanderpool, I am Ryan Yee. And boys, I gotta say, I did not expect this one. I did not expect the Houston Sabercats to be the team that we'd be talking about here 1 week ago, but here we are. And we'll get into it here and break it down and react on this episode. Of course, we got a special guest, first-time guest on this show, Houston Sabercats hooker Seth Smith joining us in just a bit to talk about his player perspective into it. We've been doing that all off season long with all the teams that have been dropping off. Seth unfortunately joins that list, and now we get to break it down even more. But boys, I mean, a crazy week. I did not think I would be here today saying this.
Yeah.
Yep. That's about it. That's about it. And boy, let me give you a breakdown, Vandy, of what was happening when I saw this news. I was out for a few drinks, saw Twitter, see the release, had to have some more drinks.
Yeah, I was watching some football. Also, I've enjoyed myself a beverage, and I proceeded to have a couple more after.
Yeah, sounds about right. And we'll break it down. Like I said, this episode is all about the Houston Sabercats and reflecting on what they offered to the league, and of course the aftermath of them now stepping out of the league, announcing that they will not be participating in 2026. We do have other news. There is actually a piece of positive news in there that we are going to talk about that has to do with some USA rugby that we'll chat about as well. And of course, we'll bring on Seth in just a bit here to get his insight into the whole situation, and then talking a little bit about gambling towards the end there with Women's Rugby World Cup in full swing now here with semifinals just around the corner. So jam-packed episode, but there is an air of maybe negativity here on this episode. That we titled this episode Wavering Optimism because, I mean, Maddie said it, and he's been on the show saying it, where his expectations are low and he's just not going to expect much here. And I've been always the optimist on this episode, where I'm like, we can do this. We can get through it. We'll get on the other side. And let me tell you, it's hard to keep that going. But here we are, and we're going to keep on talking about it. So, hey, let's break it down. Before we do, though, if you aren't already, at the Fantasy Ruckers, follow us. Up above are the handles if you're listening on the YouTube video, down below in the description if you're listening on the pod. Great content all off season long, including obviously this episode. Again, we have been big proponents of being a podcast of the players. Fantasy is all about players. Fantasy is about talking about players and doing all that good stuff. So we love bringing guests on here. We had Andrew Coe on not too long ago. We had Callum Botcher of NOLA Gold on before that. All that content, the snippets can all be found on our social media pages. So go check that out again at the Fantasy Ruckers. We've got a Discord community that reacts to all this stuff going on. Let me tell you, when I was at work, right when this all was happening down, and I just see someone post a meme in our Discord, and it just said, "It's okay, everything's fine." And I'm like, why are we posting this? What's going on? And we already have PTSD of what is going on here in the league. And I was like, okay, maybe it's nothing too bad. Maybe we'll get some good news. Maybe it'll be all right. And it just went downhill from there. Of course, couple drinks later for Maddie, couple drinks later for Vandy. Pour one out for the Houston Sabercats. So Discord community, we're all in this together. So a nice little community over there to trauma bond with everything that's going on right now. Check that out.
Trauma
Of
bond.
course, thefantasyruckers.com, the official platform for Fantasy MLR here on the Fantasy Ruckers Show. All right, no time to waste. Let's get right into the news.
News dump.
All right, time for this episode 168 of the TFR News Dump. I mean, we already talked about
Let
it
me
a lot
start it
here.
off, Ryan. Let me start it off. Ryan, you brought it up.
I'm the captain now. No, let me start it.
You said my expectations were keeping them low, right? You can't be disappointed if your expectations are on the floor. But man, did MLR just decide they somehow went to the basement. And I don't know how they did it, but we are here. I got no clue. I got absolutely no clue. I got no words. I think if I were to think of every team remaining that I would think would be folding, I had Utah before Houston.
Hey, you know what? Damn well.
You mentioned, Maddie.
You want to see a team with passion? It ain't gonna be Utah folding.
Well, okay. Before we get there,
Utah might be next, Vandy. Don't get ahead of yourself there. Utah might be next.
I'm telling you right now. If I'm done.
Still looking for funding. Allegedly.
They've said they're quietly optimistic, and they're quietly confident that it'll happen. But either way, let's not count our chickens before they hatch. We got to talk about this Houston Sabercats stuff. But Maddie, you're right.
The other way, do they
out of quiet count the chickens before they hatch?
I know, but like you don't want to say hatch is a good thing.
I guess so. Yeah, before they die. After they hatch.
Yeah, count their chickens.
Don't count your chickens before they produce more chickens.
That imitation bird comes into the nest and starts kicking the little chicks out, and then starts getting all the food and all the resources, grows up, and then ends up being the big imitation bird, and boom, more imitation birds, more nests infiltrated. This is what's happening here with the MLR.
The MLR needs to turn
anyways,
to
Matthew's point,
imitation birds.
The Houston Sabercats were not out of the teams in the realm of possibilities I thought was going to be the one again we were talking about today about leaving. And Maddie, you mentioned it last episode. And you said, I will not begin to panic until either A, the New England Free Jacks come out and say that they're not participating anymore, or B, the Seattle Seawolves came out and decide that they weren't going to participate anymore. Now, let me tell you, I believe in a podcast, in a conversation with Alex Magleby of the New England Free Jacks, has said that they're confident about the 2026 season. So take that for what you will. But the Houston Sabercats is like maybe that's step below. They're a founding member, right? Let's take you to the timeline. Founding member obviously started off not too great.
Oh boy, did they stink.
Past 2 seasons have been on the up and up. And then last week, September 11th, Thursday, they announced that they will not be participating in 2026. A little bit, the rumor mill started before then. People were posting about hearing things, and then it was all but confirmed when the Houston Sabercats announced that on social media. So, Maddie, I take it to you. It's not the Free Jacks, it's not the Seawolves, but you mentioned it. The Houston Sabercats is not one that you expected. I mean,
yeah,
this one's wavering my optimism, as the title says of this show. This one is it's dark. I'm in a dark place. So pull me out.
Look, 6 teams we can do. The league can do 6 teams. All right. Frankly, I think the league can do 4 teams if they really wanted to. I think we'll be all right. I think, look, the most concerning, and Ryan, I don't know if you wanted to get into the statement first from the Houston Sabercats before we talk more, because I think there's a lot to be said about that and a lot of alleged things that are being rumored surrounding their statement. So I don't know if you wanted to get to that.
So we're now down to 7 teams, obviously. But if we get into the statement, obviously they come out and say,
Both statements.
We won't be participating, for lack of better terms, in the 2026 seasons. They thank their fans. They thank their the people who obviously invested in the Sabercats. They cite all the years at their minor league baseball stadium and then having the
By the
best
way,
rugby facility in all of
by
the
the way,
league.
Houston knew how to do it right.
Yeah, Houston did know how to
Houston
do
did
it.
this right. They knew how to do it right.
Yep. I
Anyways,
Then
go on,
agree. You
Ref.
know what? Matt, you're right. They did it right. They did the wrong
then
thing the right way.
they come
Exactly.
out with clarification and they say, or I shouldn't say clarification, but obviously a lot of people had questions, right? Because again, Houston, we met a lot of Houston Sabercats fans when we were out in Pawtucket to watch the final. Passionate fan group there. And again, the team that you saw in the final was not one of the teams you had on your list that wasn't going to be participating in 2026. So of course there's going to be a lot of questions. And they say, so why do we step away now? And I'll quote this one exactly verbatim because I want to break this part down. There are several reasons. Yes, losing more than $50 million is not ideal, but this is not primarily about money. Mostly, we differ on the changes we believe are needed for the league's future growth and sustainability.
Mm.
Having made the decision to withdraw, we step aside with gratitude for the fans, sponsors, players, coaches, and staff that made this rugby journey unforgettable. We wish Major League Rugby growth and success for its season to come. So there's a little bit more there that talks
So,
about how they're going to still participate in the local rugby community. But
which
I
is
think
great.
what we want to highlight here, Maddie, I think we're on the same track here, is the part where they say, one, $50 million is crazy. And I get it. I knew that, teams were losing money. I
Yeah.
can see
Well, I
why.
think I think it includes their stadium that they built.
Sure.
I think it's all that. Like they're the only ones with a stadium that was built just for them. So I think it includes that, at least what I was reading.
But I
But
think
yeah, 50
what,
million at the end of the day as a business, not
yeah,
great.
what I think stuck out more to us here is the part where they say, mostly, we differ on the changes we believe are needed for the league's future growth and sustainability.
That's
So
scary.
clearly, there is discontent among owners, among organizations in MLR right now in terms of where they foresee the direction of the MLR going and how they are supposed to get there. This is the most detail that we've gotten about the reasoning behind a team exiting from a league. And this is all we can take from. So obviously there's gonna be speculation there, but that part is concerning to me. That part is concerning.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I wanted you to kind of go through that first, because it's like, I don't think the Houston Sabercats, and as they stated here, were ever had an issue or had an expectation that they're going to make money or necessarily saw this as a lucrative short term business, right? It was something that they're looking to be lucrative in the long term, 2030, whatever, finally make some money then. And they had the funding to do it. And we were never, I don't think there was ever rumors coming out to say, hey, Houston's struggling. I mean, they have Total Energies on the front of their chest. Like that's a massive, massive energy supplier, a European energy supplier that can fund a lot of money. Now, when we talk about future growth and sustainability, like that's where you think of, if we got teams that are concerned of the future growth of the MLR, like how can it be sustainable continuing the direction that we're heading? If we're not going to see changes, and teams dropping out is not a change, that is just the result of actions or inaction. If we're going to keep continuing on the same path and pretending like everything's fine and we'll be okay, it's clear that the teams inside and in the rooms where it happened aren't in agreement with that, and a big team at that.
Well, it's scary too when you look at if you treat it like a business, everything has to be an investment opportunity. Let's be real with
Yeah.
ourselves. They have to be able to see kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. And when you have teams pulling out and then saying it's because of a lack of faith with the direction the league's heading, that's not really good for new investors. Nobody would invest in a business that's not going that way. That's about as damaging as a result as a team like the Houston Sabercats could have said.
Yeah.
100%. And I mean, I don't want to get into, but like MLR has been very rumor centric on the likes of social media, things coming out. Apparently and allegedly, there are things that there's disagreement between owners or franchises on how it should be run, not necessarily only with the MLR executive group.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like there's some differing opinions there, not just the teams with the league, but also within the teams. And it makes sense. I mean, each team kind of has their different struggles, whether that's geography, whether that's location, whether that's funding or whatever it is, or attracting talent. So, um, yeah, I'll finish it off by saying, like, hey, Houston did it right. Whatever they felt like they had to do, they did it in the right way for their fans and for MLR faithful with full transparency. And what comes out of it is, looking forward to a potential 7 or 6 or rumored to be a Canadian team, 8-man league.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. I mean, again, to Vandy's point, um, it's hard to sell a league that has just been feeling like it's been just kind of hanging on a thread here, especially this offseason when it comes to teams bouncing out. Again, I think where to allude or to kind of cite the name of this episode and why my optimism is wavering from this league is it's one thing for the Miami Sharks to fold. It's one thing for all these other teams that have come in, come out, come in, come out type deal. NOLA was kind of a shock in a way, right? But then when it came to the Houston Sabercats and their announcement, it was just kind of pretty out of the blue, to be frank. And just what they've done, like they've done, it seems like everything right. Right. Like it comes like from their academy, from building in Houston to providing the venue and building that and investing in that. Apparent from their fan base, apparent from all that, and apparent to the success that they've recently had. Like it just seemed like the Houston Sabercats were doing it right. And even then, they are at a point where they have to now back out of 2026. So that's
Kind of
where
funny. This is one. Maybe I didn't have my ear to the floor, as they say. I don't know if that's what they say. My ear to the wall. I don't
Ear
know.
to the ground.
Whatever it is, ear to the ground. But this was the first one that didn't come with excessive amount of rumors swirling
yeah,
weeks prior,
yeah.
which is interesting. Which means it was probably likely a pretty either buttoned up decision or pretty recent decision that had to be made.
Yeah, and I mean we'll find out more, and we'll see what Seth is got insight into. Again, we've had this conversation one too many times with players that we brought onto the show. It feels
three
like
times this season alone.
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. The only
Just because
thing
it would have been 4, but we don't know anybody on Miami.
I'll have one more question to kind of wrap this in a bow. But I think the last thing I want to touch on, which is the most shocking aspect to me outside of that tidbit in the piece of statement that the Houston Sabercats released. The craziest thing to me right now is that the MLR has yet to address any of this, right? Outside of the merger between RFCLA and the San Diego Legion, which now is the California Legion, I have not seen, heard, or had any
They draft
inkling
picks.
of where the yeah, draft picks, where the
They got San Diego logo.
league stands on this right now. Not even like like it's okay, right? Don't worry. Like we're working through this. I get it. I get it. It doesn't look great right now, but we're working hard to make sure that 2026 is gonna be here. And maybe there's decisions that still need to be made. Maybe there's things on the horizon that we
They don't
know
even
about.
know. They don't even know what's happening. I mean, they
But
don't know
any
whether
communication though, right? Like that's the
yeah.
terrifying part.
Something to at least calm this, like the storm. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something to help weather it, and nothing.
Yeah. Like I mean, I'm in the media business, right? I'm on the other side when it comes to public relations. But PR 101 is when something like this happens, is you need to control the narrative, right? You need to control where this story is headed. And right now it is chaos, right?
Yeah.
Because no one knows anything. And when you didn't put the fire out when NOLA dropped out, when you didn't put the fire out when Miami dropped out, then you have a bigger fire when Houston comes through and nothing's said still. That's when panic starts to happen. And when your
Hey,
most dedicated fans, like myself and like Vandy, like Maddie here on this show, and like a whole bunch of other people that are in the Fantasy Ruckers community, that are beyond the Fantasy Ruckers community, that are within the groups that we met in person when we went to some of these matches. Like I can only feel for Houston Sabercats fans, man, because like they had a die-hard group, right? And the fact that there isn't any respect in a way to offer these fans any insight or support in what they need to look forward to coming up here this 2026 year. It's tough, man. It's tough. And that's why, at least my final question, like where do we out of 10 is our concern lie now with the MLR and the future sustainability of the MLR and whether or not we will have an MLR within the next few years. I don't think 2026 is something that has to be people worrying. I think we're going to have a 2026. And we had Cole on the show a couple weeks ago where he said, hey, like, I'm not worried, right? Like, the World Cup's around the corner. Use that momentum. I can't see it doing anything since then. But, like, man, with this one, like, I don't want to sound and help sound the alarm and start, running around and stir the panic. But man, my
Hey,
concern that was at, let's say, like in terms of 10 being the most concern and 0 being no concern at all, when what was like probably a 3 or 4, a couple weeks ago. Like now I think it's above the 5 threshold.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
not for 2026, but I'm concerned on where this league is headed.
I seen something. It was like a conspiracy take, but it was on
oh,
the MLR. No, it was on the MLR subreddit, and the guy goes bold predictions. And a guy last year said that the league is going to lose teams and scrape by till the World Cup, and then cease to exist. And it's like
Hmm.
he said that a year ago, and then we just lost 3 teams. It's like, damn man,
Yeah,
maybe there's some truth to it.
it's tough. It's tough. So I'll ask you then, guys, out of 10, 10 being the most concerned, 0 being you're chilling. Where are we at, boys? Let's take a temperature check.
I'll go, I'll go 6. But I'll
I'm
tell you
going.
right now, we lose one more team. I think it's all the way up to 9.
I think we are. I think
I,
we
I
are
think
going to
I
lose one more team.
if I had a
I think we're going
prediction
to
right
lose one
now,
more team.
I
I think
think
we're
we're
going to
going to
be
go
doing the
into
2026 season with 6.
I agree.
And yet, my worries, a solid 3.
Okay.
let's go, Matt.
We got 2026. We have the season. I feel pretty good that we're going to have the year. I told you until we start getting inklings surrounding Seattle or New England, we still got a base. We got the structure. All right. Hozier said if the bones are good, the rest don't matter. All right. And that and the bones are good, but boy, do they got some arthritis in them.
Yeah,
I don't know,
they're
man.
holding
They
a
might
lot
be
of
Whatever
weight.
lacking
they
some
got. What's that
calcium,
other thing?
bro.
What's the other bone thing?
I don't know. I would have just left it there, man. That
Osteoporosis?
was good. You had it.
Osteoporosis. Yeah, where's the MLR is suffering from some osteoporosis. That's
Yeah.
what's happening, but the bones are there.
Natty, you
Um,
might be the 2% the league needs, man. You might be the milk, the
Yeah.
calcium.
hey, buddy, they need a
Get you
lot
on your
more 1%.
soapbox,
They
man.
need a lot more 1%ers than me.
There you go.
That's
All
for
right.
sure.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
thank goodness that the Anthem's got 250 mil though.
You know
yeah,
what? Maybe
boy.
them Americans should try the bag milk we got in Canada. Maybe that's what you need.
I agree.
There you go. Again, I think we got, at least I did. I got pretty like emotional in a sense of where I
Oh
kind of my
yeah.
thoughts on this and maybe
Right.
critical on that, but um it's where I'm at. It's where I'm at right now, and it's tough to see. I really do feel bad. Like, I mean, Stephen Lowen, right? Like our community moderator, he's a massive Houston Saber. He's been there since day one, right? And he's invested in the club. He's been to matches. It's just it's hard, and I get it. It's not fair to maybe me not have the same reaction to the other clubs that lost teams, but
This one feels
um,
different.
this one feels different, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. Okay, other news though that we just got to wrap up before we turn this and spin it into more of a positive sense, and before we bring on Houston Sabercats Seth Smith on the show. Couple departures here that we have this upcoming season. I'll start off with Thomas O'Boney. It was announced that he will not be returning for Old Glory DC here coming up in 2026. Thomas O'Boney started 16 of his 20 MLR games for Old Glory DC. Not quite sure yet where he will be heading, but the Italian got a nice little thank you message from Old Glory DC's official social pages. Vandy, this is one that's probably going to hit home a little bit for you, but Frank Lahore has confirmed that he will be departing Utah. He had the Forward of the Year interview that was posted with MLR, and it was outlined there that he will be headed to Japan following his NPC bunting season with the Magpies. So Frank Lahore, the tackle leader or the single season tackle record holder for MLR, will not be here for 2026. And a guy that has been a staple, second row number one, and probably one of the easiest bets for us on the top five each and every year to just put him up there. We're going to have to go look, Maddie, for a different number one second row player because Frank Lahore was pretty easy to put there. And I know fantasy managers were pretty happy with the performances that he had when it came to a position in the second row position that often doesn't produce a lot of points. Number one fantasy second row this year with 124.2 fantasy points, handful of double-digit performances, double-digit tackles each and every week. Has had as many as 29 tackles, man, in round 12 this past year. Pretty incredible. 168.2 fantasy points in 2024. So Thomas O'Boney and, of course, Frank Lahore not coming back here for 2026. Spinning now. Easy transition to some positive news. So, of course, we had PNC happening over the past handful of a couple weeks here, and it was looking grim. It was looking grim for USA Rugby, and it looked even more grim when Canada took advantage of that Japan loss that USA had to book their ticket to Australia in 2027. But don't you fret. USA, the red, white, and blue, coming in clutch against Samoa with a 29-13 win. They will not have to depend on the repechage or any other games. Their ticket to 2027 Australia is in the books. Must feel good for American fans. Good to see both Canada and US in the 2027 World Cup. And USA Rugby, what looked a little bit dicey there, still buy their ticket, which I'm sure they'll be looking forward to. And they got a lot of time. Yeah. They got a lot of time. They got it there. They got what they need to get done. The elation of them making it, you could tell the relief. And now they have a couple years here to build towards that 2027 year.
And I think people might make jokes about it, the fact that the MLR contributed to this. But, you know, without a league to foster some of these guys that are transitioning from other countries into the U.S., guys like JP Smith, guys like Toby Fricker, guys with slight U.S. eligibility have a place to play and have a place to call home and train here locally within the country. You know, the MLR has provided them that platform to be able to do that. So I would say, you know, actually the MLR has contributed to this because winning against a 14th ranked Samoa team who is, you know, nothing to scoff at is an impressive win. And they've moved up 3 spots in the world rankings after that win. And yeah, I think in my mind, this should be expectation for American rugby fans. They should be in there. They should be making the World Cup. And now in 2027, we get to watch both Rugby Canada and American rugby lose in the pool rounds and not make it any further.
Yeah. Well, USA is now at 16, moving up from 19, Canada at 24 there. So USA fans, lot to cheer about. And I think you're right, Maddie. I do that. I mean, that's been the platform of MLR, right? Like to enhance rugby here stateside, to enhance rugby in North America. And I would go right there to say if they didn't have this platform, I don't know what we'd be saying about USA and a possible World Cup bid there. So definitely there. All right. Maddie, any insights from your people or can we move on?
No, we can move on. My people are on break. They're still crying about Houston. All right, we didn't need to move on to this though. This is what we didn't do. This was the opposite of what we needed to transition to. There's no way you have any type of league update.
Well, hear ye. Here is Supreme Commissioner Yee with the Fantasy Ruckers League update.
My confidence in the MLR is 6 out of 10, but my confidence in the Fantasy Ruckers League is 10 out of 10. Don't you worry.
That's right. That is right, Maddie. 6 out of 10 for the league. We won't 10 out of 10. We'll suit Vandy up. So, you know, those shoddy, like Russian betting sites where they
Oh
just
yeah.
have like a camera on and you could bet. We'll just suit Vandy up in his Utah gear and we'll just have him playing against himself and we'll have fantasy based on
I'll
that.
put
I
Louis in
think
a
it's
whatever jersey you want. I'll just
oh yeah.
run through him.
Yeah, we just do run it straight.
There you
Oh
Hey,
go.
yeah.
I
I'll
would
do
say
videos.
to the as honorary commissioner for this episode, thanks, right? I I just want to tell the people that like, look, as long as we got a league going, we got the Fantasy Ruckers.
It's true.
Might
As
have to
long
be
as
some
they got a
changes.
league, we got
All
a
right. We might have to have smaller leagues. We might have to do it, but hey, we're in this together. We'll make it happen. There might be all this doom and gloom happening with the organization, but in this organization,
We
in
ride.
this house, under this roof,
We ride.
we ride.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Fire
good,
me
Matty.
up, man.
You're gonna steal some.
Let's
You're gonna steal
go.
some of my votes.
Let's go.
You're gonna steal some of my votes. Running for
A commissioner
commissioner.
of the year or something?
Dude,
I'm
right
not-
there, man. Just boom, give us some more of that.
Honorary commissioner. Oh yeah. He's honorary
Um,
commissioner. That's
All
my
right.
rule.
Well, taking back the duties quickly here.
Okay.
Last thing is just the TFR Managers Choice Awards form is out and released. There are some interesting results in there. Vandy, Maddie, I do have a question in there that says,
Keep
"Who
the
is your
speeches to
favorite?
45 seconds.
Who is your favorite Fantasy Ruckers host?" Not going to reveal the results of that yet, but
Oh,
I will say that is
no.
a award that is a
Just know if
Where are
one
we
guy
getting the
wins,
result?
just know if one guy wins, know what card I'm pulling. You just
So-
know what card I'm pulling if one guy wins.
So if you haven't filled out your form yet and you participated in the fantasy MLR season this past year, make sure you go fill that out. We are going to reveal that on our next episode, so make sure you get that done. Really fun kind of insight into kind of how managers felt towards this past season with some of the players that they had and some other fun questions there. There's also a little feedback form there to ask what you want to see as a category next season when it comes to the TFR Managers Choice Awards, this being the inaugural TFR Managers Choice Awards. So hope to make this a continued thing each year, year in and year out. All right, no more time to waste. I know a lot of people are tuning into this episode to hear one man, not us three hooligans talking and spitting about our feelings, but getting some insight into everything that has gone down since the announcement of the Houston Sabercats departure of 2026. In this week's Sin Bin interview on this episode 168, time to bring on first-time guest of the Fantasy Ruckers Show, Seth Smith.
Sin Binterview.
And we are super stoked to finally bring on a guy that we've been wanting to have on our show for a long time. We wish it was on better terms, but either way, it forced our hand to reach out to the one and only Seth Smith. Seth, appreciate you coming on the show, man. Thank you so much. Been big time fans of yours for a long time. We appreciate all the support in our content. How's it going, man? And good to have you on.
Yeah, it's going good. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be on the podcast. Like you said, I've been looking at the stuff for like the last 2 years, really, ever since I got in the league. So I'm very excited to get in the podcast.
You know,
I got to get something out of the way though, Seth. You look even more jacked in this interview right now than on TV.
I was gonna say, how the hell am I intimidated through the
I was
camera?
like, you when you came on, I was like, this guy is even more jacked.
Yeah.
I'm hyped up. The hair looks even better. I love it.
You
know,
I
I-
absolutely love it.
I got in a brain. I just got out of a gym session, so I got
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
man.
fun going on.
Bandy over there is so jealous.
Yeah, oh yeah, buddy. I got nothing up top, eh? Nothing. I grew
My
up
dad
with
always
lip,
says, he's
that's
like,
about
Seth,
it.
he's like, my dad always says, Seth, you need to keep your hair because I'm living through you. So
Well,
Me
now
too,
you got
brother,
Vandy
me
living.
too.
Now you got Vandy living through you too. He wishes you had your hair. He wishes he had your body. All that above.
Hey!
So
Oh, found my dad. No.
you
hey,
go.
I
Well-
see the arms.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go. So Seth, I guess obviously we know why you're on the show here. And before we kind of get into that kind of stuff here, I think a great place to start is to kind of go to get down memory lane. I don't think there's a person that kind of better epitomizes what the league is all about in terms of growing the sport, in terms of building the grassroots rugby up from the bottom up and really allowing rugby to thrive in North America. You're a guy that was the youngest ever to sign a contract in MLR at 17 years old. You came through the Houston Sabercats ranks, right? Playing a multi-sport athlete in high school, introduced to rugby by your dad. And then lo and behold, you're a pro rugby player in 2024, man. So talk to me about your kind of rugby journey and how it ended up with you being a Houston Sabercat.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I'm so passionate about rugby, so there's gonna be a lot of passion in this talk. But so my
Hell
dad,
yeah.
my dad loves sports. Like he loves sports, and he got into rugby. And probably, I mean, I've been playing now. I think I'm going on 10 years, so probably 15 years. I mean, he's been into rugby for a long time. He loves all types of rugby, like league, AFL. If it has a rugby ball in it or anything close to a rugby ball, he loves it. And so my little brother was playing like select football. He was trying out for a team at one of the local high schools, like at like a youth team that was over there that's
Yeah.
like travel ball but for football. And so my dad saw rugby. He's like, Seth, do you want to play? And I'm like, I do everything with my dad. I mean, even to date, before I moved out, like anytime we need water, because we got a 5 gallon jug with a pump, and anytime he needs to go to the store, like I'm always with him. And so I got into rugby. I started off at Katy Barbarians. I played all the way up until probably my freshman year, and then I made the switch into high school. And my senior year, I decided to get out of high school rugby and go into the men's club. And so that's whenever I got in with the Houston Sabercats Academy coach, Coach Brown. He was like, hey, Seth, do you want to come play with the Houston Sabercats Academy? And I was like, look, I'm completely game. I want to do this. And so I spent a year with the Academy team, and I played in front of like the likes of Coach Brown, Heineke Meyer, Pote Human. And so being in front of those coaches, I guess really gave me my opportunity to show who I was. And then after about, I think I've spent 4 or 5 games with the academy team, I got, see, because I was still in high school at the time, and I had a meeting
Oh
with
yeah.
the coaches, and they were like, hey, Seth, we want you to come practice with us, but I couldn't because I was still in high school, had classes. And so I talked to Coach Heineken, and he was like, hey, the day you get out of high school, the day you graduate and you're done with classes, come practice. So I think I graduated on like a Thursday, and that Friday I was at practice.
No
And
way, that's
it,
unreal.
I know
No time to party. No time. We got rugby to play.
it was such a quick turnaround. And so I spent the month at the end of the 2023 season with the Houston Sabercats on like a practice contract, getting the feel for everything. And it was crazy because whenever I first got there, like I was getting taught how to play flanker by Danny Barrett. And
That's an old name.
oh, it, in being around somebody like him and him actually teaching me how to play flanker, which I'm not the tallest guy. I think I'm like 5'8", 5'9", but let's
Right
just
there
say
with
I'm
you, brother.
6 foot. Let's just say I'm 6 foot. And so, I switched sucker. But yeah, so after being with the academy team for a little while and getting to practice with the Sabercats, I had a meeting with Coach Heineken. He was like, hey, Seth, do you want to do this? Is this something you want to do? Do you want to be a Houston Sabercat? And there was nothing in my mind that could have changed my mind on what I wanted to be. I mean, I started with the academy team at 14, worked all the way up until 18, where I played U18s as well while I was playing men's club. And so being in the Sabercats pathway really gave me that opportunity to become a Sabercat. And then I got signed, spent some time like in the off season working on my craft to get better. And then the 2024 season started. I came in. It was me, Peta, and Tion. And Tion was coming off an ACL injury back whenever he was at Atlanta. So there's two hookers, and Coach Heineke and Coach Potes sat me down in a meeting. We're like, hey, Seth, this is going to be your chance to play. We need you to play. Because at the end of the day in rugby, you don't know, like if you're on the bench, you don't know whether you're going to play 80 or whether you're going to play 30 seconds.
Mm.
And so I always had to mentally prepare for that. And against Utah week 1, I think it was March 2nd, I debuted. I got 2 minutes off the bench.
And we got
And
4 in our data. We got 4 minutes in our data, Seth.
hey,
You cherish all 4 of those.
every single second I cherish, because I mean, like that's whenever I debuted and broke the record for youngest MLR player by 8 days.
Damn.
And so I mean, now thinking about everything like with Houston, like being the youngest player in Houston to play and the history I've made, it's just looking back on it, it's so crazy to me about how I started off as, like you said, a multi-sport athlete, a 14-year-old boy getting in with the Houston Sabercats, not knowing how far it could really take me. And from 14 to 20, I've been a Sabercat. And
Crazy.
I know there's some we're probably gonna talk about later, but we'll get there later. But
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
yeah, before we get there, so I gotta ask. You're talking through your journey, and I gotta ask, like, when did you feel like, yeah, I can hang in this league? Like, was it the game where you came off the bench in 2024 where you absolutely killed it, and then the game after where you got your first start? Like, when was it? When did it click in your head, and you're like, yeah, this is like I can succeed here among these giants of some rugby legends in the league.
Yeah, well, speaking of rugby legends, I mean, I remember whenever I sat across Mananu, Mayan, I'm so bad at it. Mananu. Whenever I
Man,
sat
yeah,
across, whenever I sat across from him, and I saw him, and I was like, wow,
yeah.
this is insane. But to take it back a little farther, back in high school, like you said, I played three sports, but my senior years, whenever I realized rugby was really what I wanted to do, so I put all
Mm.
my time and effort into rugby. And then I guess the moment that really I felt like I could hang was, like you said, that San Diego game where I came in off the bench. Tian got a red card in like the 39th minute. And before that, I played 5 games and I think I had like 12 minutes
hmm
before that. Or it was 4 games, 12 minutes. I mean, I
Yeah.
averaged 3 minutes a game coming off the bench. And so getting to get in the game with 40 minutes left in such a crucial part of our season, especially going up against San Diego.
Against a great team, yeah.
It's a very good team. And so I ended up coming off the bench. I remember like it was yesterday. We got the scrum pin because they were on R5. They had momentum, and we ended up getting the scrum pin. And then we went into halftime, and that was a big energy boost for me. And then I guess scoring the first try of the same game, I think I was right around in the double digits tackles. And that's whenever I
Yeah.
really knew, hey, this is me. I can do this.
Mm.
And then the next thing was, like you said, the week after getting my first start against Utah, and Utah is massive. Like those are some big boys.
Big boys, yeah.
But coming to get my first start there and getting to play, I think that's whenever I realized, hey, I'm I'm not I don't want to be seen as the 18-year-old kid in the league. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants
Mm.
to be, oh, he's just a kid. You know what I mean? I don't want to be
Mm.
that guy where everybody's like, oh, he's a kid. Like I want to play like a man because I'm in a man's sport in a man's league. Like
Yeah.
there's like you said, like playing around with legends of the game. They're not small and they don't care. Like they will hit you as hard as they can. And so I guess that just those are kind of the two games that woke me up and was like, hey, I can do this. And then getting the next week playing 30 off the bench against Anthem. So before going into USA U20s, I knew I can do this. There wasn't a doubt in my mind that I can hang with the big dogs.
Very
We
cool.
know it now too.
Quickly here, Seth. When Maddie and I were out in Pawtucket for the final, it wasn't hard to spot the Smith conglomerate in the crowd when it comes to your supporters. It was very, very clear who was cheering for Seth Smith. Which leads me to the question of just like obviously you can see the passion in you in this sport, and you can hear it coming off of the way you talk about it. And the way you describe it, a lot of it comes from your dad, it sounds like. Like, how stoked was he when he found out that you were going to be a pro rugby player? That's got to be a fever dream.
Yeah, so my dad was a very good athlete growing up. Like he had D1 offers for football. He was going to compete in World's Strongest Man at a young age. So he's like always been involved in
You
sports.
got the genes, man.
No, I do have the
That's
genes.
sick, man.
My mom too. My mom was like a semi-pro bowler. Like it was insane. My sister could have been a D1 softball player. She had D1 offers. My brother is
Let's
actually a
go.
D1 running back at University of Houston.
Okay.
So my older brother, he's like 6'6". He's a massive dude. Also played basketball and football, but there's I remember whenever I got signed, just the look on my parents' face was so rewarding to me because growing up it was always, hey Seth, don't don't get caught in what a bunch of other people might do in high school. Like in high school, a lot of people are worried about like partying and doing stuff like that and really, I guess you could say, making the most out of their young ages. But for me, it was always like working out like 6:30 every morning. I was in the gym before school. You know what I mean? I would come home from school and lift with my dad. So my dad was always pushing me to be better. And so I think, and he told me after I played, like after I got my first start in the player of the week, I called him on FaceTime afterwards because my mom was there and she called him on FaceTime. And I was talking to my dad and he was like, Seth, he was like, everything that you've done to this day has led to what you've done now.
Hmm.
He was like, all the times that all the blood, sweat, and tears, all the hours where you didn't want to do anything, they led to this moment. And I could really tell, like, he started crying. And, like, I've never, like, I never
Buddy, I'm
seen my
about to
dad
start
cry.
crying.
And, like,
Unreal.
the tears down his eyes. I mean, I get emotional because, you know, like, my whole family was there. My mom was there. My dad was there. My grandma was there. My brother and his wife were there. Like, my support system has led to where I am now. And I'm so grateful for every single one of them to keep pushing me to be better. And it's like, it it was a big switch from not going to college and not doing everything, like leaving home. You know what I mean? Like my parents had to be like, okay, Seth, this is the plan. Because I'll be honest, I eat a lot. So I'm an expensive dude. I eat a lot. Ever since I got to Atlanta, I started tracking how much money I spend a month, and I'm like, golly, I spend like $600, $700 a month on food. But
That's funny.
but yeah, no,
That
I
is
really
funny.
I really do have a great support system. So I am very
Cool.
grateful for every single one of them.
Young man,
Um,
you are very wise beyond your years. Let me tell you that. You speak with a cadence, with a passion that, man, I'm just like honed in on you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Vanny wants to run through a wall now, man.
Yeah, I
You
was gonna say,
know?
God damn it, man, you got me feeling good.
Um,
You know,
last
Shark Tank.
question. There you go. Last question, Seth, before we get into maybe the harder stuff. The past 2 years with Houston, has had to be a blast. I mean, I'm sure being with the program for as long as you've had, you knew there were dark days, right? Like
Yeah.
there were some like when we were starting to cover this league, like man, Houston was often the laughing stock, for better of a term, in terms of what they were putting on the field. Um, and then the past 2 years, ever since you've been a pivotal part of this program, this club, you got a 14-2 season right last year, and then this past season an MLR final appearance. I mean, it's been just a wild ride for you since you've been with the Houston Sabercats. Tell me what the past 2 years have been like for you to be a part of that journey and to see some of the guys that have been there since the beginning. You know what I mean? That have experienced that and saw the dark days and got to all the way to this point. Like, what was your perspective like on getting to where you guys were able to get here this past season?
Yeah, so I guess like last year, a big thing, I mean, even this year, a big thing for us was talking about how we got the playoffs almost every year before, but never won a playoff game.
Mm.
And I mean, like you said, going 14-2 in the regular season last year, and then going into playoffs and losing to Dallas in the first round, that was a big like wake up moment for us. Is like no matter how good you are in the regular season, if you lose one game, you're done.
Yeah.
It's win or go home. And so going into this year, this most recent year, it was like, hey guys, the team that wins finals are the ones that stay the most healthy. Two, the ones that come like the best together, who have the best culture.
Yeah.
And so we pride ourselves on that. And so I remember because I just came off an injury. I was trying to get back the Anthem game and the Chicago game because we played Chicago Wednesday, Anthem Saturday, and then ended up playing LA the following Monday because all the delays. But I was coming off a collarbone injury, which we didn't know I broke my collarbone, but I broke my collarbone. So I ended up playing in playoffs in the final on a broken collarbone.
That is
You're a weapon.
that is wild.
It was
To be fair, how you gonna touch that collarbone under all that muscle, all those traps over there?
yeah, it's I've still been rehabbing, but just other than that, like getting able to come back and being able to play in playoffs and being a part of the first playoff win in I guess team history was I remember after the locker room, everybody looked at each other and was like, we just made history as a team. Every single person in that locker room, I mean, staff, even Nick, our dude who made us food on Tuesdays, he was a part of that win.
Oh yeah, Nick.
And then we go
Oh,
in
yeah.
next week. Boom, we go in, play Utah. Away in Utah, which I don't playing in
Sensitive
Utah is one of the
subject.
hardest places to play. Like I remember
Beautiful though.
go on.
It was beautiful though.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I remember my first time there, getting the walk over on the far side, seeing the mountains in the back with the drop off. It's Utah's I've I've played my
What's it
best
like?
rugby in Utah.
What's it like seeing Liam Coltman?
Oh, now that was insane for me because the first game I got to start against him. And I mean an ex All Black who has
Mhm.
probably some of the most experience for a hooker in the MLR. In me getting to go up against him was insane for me. Like I remember looking across from him, and the whole week, entire week, I was looking him up, watching game film. I'm not gonna say I was stalking him, but I was like, wow, this really is the dude that I'm gonna go up against, you know? And it's like me versus him. And so I built it up to, hey Seth, this dude's an ex All Black. He has played at the highest level in the world. If you show yourself against him, there's no reason why there should be a doubt in your mind about you never being good enough to play this sport.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
so I went in there and I think I held my own, especially against somebody like him with such good knowledge and experience and how strong he is and how big he is. He's a very physical player. And
Yeah.
I think I did my best. And so
100%.
that's another thing that gave me the motivation and the confidence to play rugby because I feel like I play my best rugby when I'm confident.
Hmm.
And that goes for everybody else. Is to any rugby players out there, if you are confident, you will succeed.
There you go.
And
That's awesome.
I hate that we have to get into
I was gonna
crappy
say, you
stuff
know
because
what?
I
Let's
am
not get
so
into the
fired
bad
up.
stuff.
I'm so fired up right now.
You
I'm
want to be
about to
my motivational life coach? Like this?
I'm about to unretire and go join an academy somewhere. That's what's about to happen.
Uh, um, yeah. Well, I guess then as the transition, I'll
No,
just
no
say
You
transition. No, we're
stink.
leaving it here.
no, the lighthearted.
I'm way too fired up to
Yeah, there
No,
you
just
go.
say, did it
transition.
feel different? Did it feel set? Did it feel different in that scrum with Liam Coltman? Like, did breaking down with him feel different when you're in there?
Oh, the very first scrum, looking across from, I made eye contact with him, and I was like, "Wow, this dude plays for the All Blacks."
That's great. That's great. All right.
He had some front row sorcery that you didn't even know of.
Yeah. All right. I
Insane.
guess reflecting through all that, we got to get to this point. Obviously,
Okay.
the announcement comes out last week about, and I think it took a lot of people by
Thinks
surprise.
even more now, by the way. Now that I've
Yeah.
met you, Seth, this
Yeah.
stinks even more.
Um,
Anyways, go on, Rye.
I think a lot of people, for a lot of the teams that this has happened to, had an inkling maybe in their mind that, okay, like I can understand why. Houston has been a staple since day one when it comes to this league. They have one of the most passionate fan bases. The venue that you guys play at is incredible. Just the buy-in of the Houston rugby community into this program has been first class since day one. And to hear their announcement or see their announcement come out about them not participating in 2026 was, I think, a shock to a lot of people. We have a lot of Houston Sabercats fans that are in our community that were shocked. Even people who weren't Sabercats fans were like, "Oh my God, like this has happened." We got the pleasure of meeting a bunch of them. In Pawtucket when we went to the final, just how passionate they are for them to travel basically to a New England home game to support you guys. I guess my opening question is just how did you find out? When did you find out? And what was your reaction to the news that Houston was not going to be participating in 2026?
Okay, so I was at Ross. I needed a belt and some other stuff, and me and my girlfriend were at Ross, and I get a call from Coach Potes. And usually whenever he calls me, it's always good stuff. And I remember like early in the year, he called me. He was like, "Hey Seth, you're gonna be starting against San Diego this past year at home." He's like, "You're gonna be starting in San Diego." Every time he's called me, it's always been good stuff. And I get the call, and I'm like, oh, like maybe something's good. Like maybe I just got called up to USA, or maybe something with South Africa because I want to go to South Africa, and I know how deep his connections are there. And the first thing he said was like, "Hey Seth, we will not be participating in the 2026 MLR season. And I think I felt like my heart drop because everything in my whole career so far has been with Houston. And they were the team that gave me a chance to, like, they gave me a chance. And it was, yeah, man. It still gets me because, like you said, it was so unexpected. I mean, we had the best season in team history, and I know it was a hard decision for the ownership to make and for staff to make because we were at the top of our game. And so yeah, he just told me that we weren't going to compete and my heart dropped. And I remember I was walking around Ross stressing, and my girlfriend's there like, "Hey Seth, like everything gonna be fine." Like she really does support me, and she supported me so much, and it kind of helped me get over the big change that's going to be coming in my life because back home I live at home, I live with my family, and it's super nice and it's super convenient. And then now, wherever I end up, I'm essentially going to be on my own, refinding new friends, making a new way of life. And so, yeah, I found out maybe 4 or 5 hours before it was announced. And at first, I was hoping like, hey, maybe they just thought about it, and then tomorrow, like, like pinch me. Maybe I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
I'm having
Yeah.
a nightmare. But they ended up announcing it while I was at practice, and everybody on the rugby team here at Life that I was practicing was like, dude, what happened? What happened? What happened? I was like, guys, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. All I know is that we're done.
Yeah,
So you
that's
had
wild.
no inkling even before then that that was even a possibility.
Yeah, so I didn't, not at all. I mean, because like after I saw like Miami fold and NOLA fold, it's always comfortable to think that's not gonna happen to me. That's not gonna happen to us. You know what I mean? And so it ended up happening to us. And so there was no like thing in my mind that was like, oh, like Houston's not gonna have a team. Like I was more worried about like getting re-signed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Getting able to come back to Houston. And like,
Yeah.
but now that's gone. So now there's a chance, hey Seth, like that, like potentially that final could have been my last game in the MLR if I don't get re-signed and
Yeah.
if stuff like that happens. You know what I mean? So it hit really hard, and like the first day wasn't like the hardest because I don't think it really set in. And then the morning of day two, I woke up and I was like, wow. I started talking to my family about everything. Like my phone's blowing up. I'm getting calls and texts from friends and family. Like I think I had maybe like 500 texts throughout Snapchat, Instagram, and messages about what's going on. Like dudes I played academy with are texting me what's going on because it was such a big shock to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's crazy, man. I think because we were kind of, I guess, speculating before we had you on. It just with all the other team announcements, it felt like there was maybe a little bit of a buildup to finding out, and there were maybe rumblings that this was going to happen. And I think what's different in our interview with you versus maybe some of the other players that we had was like there was maybe a little bit of a feeling among players that hey, something's going on. Like, have you heard about this? But it does feel like at least the way that we were brought up, where we were just blindsided by this. I can only imagine it sounds like players were just as blindsided, if not more blindsided by the news, which is shocking to hear again. And I think that's a testament to no one really thinking that this would ever happen to Houston, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
And like I said, is it had to be such a hard decision for them because it's obviously not easy to decide, hey, we're not going to participate in the 2026 season, especially having such a great year and like the backing of Houston. I mean, you talk about the fans, is we probably filled out half of those stands from Houston. I know it was like a 4.5 hour flight. We probably filled up a giant chunk of those stands. And just the backing of the fans and the backing of staff. And like you said, we have our own stadium. We have 2 practice fields. We have our own gym. We have everything you can ask for a rugby team. And like if I'm not mistaken, I think we're one of the only teams, if not the only team in the MLR to have their own stadium that's completely for
Yep, that's
themselves.
right. Yep.
And so we and honestly, I think every team's going to want a stadium to themselves at one point. And so I think Houston was, I guess in better or not words to say, we were kind of the standard for what you want. You want to have your own fields, your own stadium. And so we had all that. But yeah, it was just a big blindside. But I mean, I've been talking to a couple of friends and family, but that's life. Sometimes your path is different than what you want it to be. You know what I mean? Because like my plan was like, hey, get 50 caps at the Sabercats, maybe go overseas, like look at stuff like that. And that was my plan for my path. And then a wrench gets thrown in the path, and then now it's like, hey, this isn't what you thought it would be, but now you have a new path, but now you keep walking. This is the path that I was given, and this is the path me and the Houston boys were given. And I mean, like the Miami boys, the NOLA boys, and with the merge with LA and San Diego is none of this is what any of us expected or what we really wanted, because nobody wants a team to fold right before the season starts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now we all have new paths, and I think that's what life threw at us. And now it's just I've been trying to stay really positive out of the mix. You know what I mean? Is hey, maybe this is a time for me to go overseas. Maybe I could
Yeah.
look at going to overseas. I mean, I'm still 20. I can get into some U21s overseas, maybe into academy, or hop on a different MLR team and kind of transition what I've been doing. So I'm just I'm trying to stay very positive about everything.
Hey, good on you, man. Good on you, man.
Yeah.
It's a great way to approach that with all of
You
it.
know what? You're right. Life's like forks in the road, and sometimes you don't get to pick which direction you go, man. But honestly, with the mental fortitude you have, with your motor of a work ethic, by the sounds of it, you're gonna do great, man. You're gonna
Um,
do great.
and to wrap kind of that up with the ball, I'll give you the opportunity because again, like I mentioned, you mentioned the fans and you understand kind of how important the fans were to your organization and how passionate they were. I know we have a bunch of Houston Sabercats fans in our Fantasy Ruckers leagues. What do you have to say to them? What would be the thing that you would want to say to them?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, rugby's the greatest sport ever, and I found it to be the greatest sport ever. And so whether your team is still in the league or whether your team folded, love rugby. And to everybody watching, I really appreciate everybody, tuning in and fantasy. I mean, think about this, fantasy and football. Now we got in rugby. Come on, that's so exciting.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Love it. Before we get in that, because I did tell you, I did promise you that we were going to reveal your fantasy MLR ranking.
I'm
Um,
nervous.
you did tell me that you got some stuff that's going on right now. Like, what do you got cooking right now? And as a follow-up question, like you kind of alluded to it, but is there anything that you have planned in the near future here for what you want to do when it comes to rugby?
Yeah, so what I was telling you about is I'm actually the honorary captain for a Yellow Rose Sevens. It's like sevens and it's a showcase that's actually going to come down to Houston. And now the plan's going to be a little different with now Houston folding, but it's going to be a tournament. I think we're trying to finalize a date, but it's for sevens and it's a CRC's qualifier. And so we have teams from all over the United States coming down to play. And it's a qualifier for all four of like the tiers. And so it's also a showcase. So not only are college coaches going to be coming in bringing their sevens teams, they're also going to be recruiting players from all over the United States who want to come in and be at this showcase. And so mainly it's going to be like the youth players from like I guess really right now it's the states and cities surrounding Houston and Texas and all that. But what we plan on being is an entire United States. All teams from all over the United States, youth players from the United States, all coming in to showcase their talent in front of college coaches at this tournament. And like it's big for sevens. I mean, we have so many teams that are starting to commit and are coming into this tournament. And
Yeah.
and like for example, like as a Texas boy, I mainly got recruited by teams in the South. Like I didn't get recruited by any schools kind of in the Northeast and the Midwest because they don't typically know about players from Texas, from Houston, and some of the smaller teams. So now you get to bring these coaches in who are coaching sevens teams at a very high level. Now, while they're already there in Houston, they get to watch these youth players compete. And, they can find a diamond in the rough. And so I'm very excited to be a part of this. It's Yellow Rose Sevens, and it's like a showcase, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. I really think with all the backing and support, this tournament and showcase can really be the next big deal.
Very cool. When's that tournament taking place? Where can people find more information? And Seth, where can people find you if they want to see what you're up to and see how you're looking as an honorary captain?
So on Instagram, so mine is one and only underscore Seth and the Yellow Rose Sevens. You can find it. You can find them both on Instagram. But I'm pretty sure we're trying to finalize a date sometime in
Okay.
February. But it's really, I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Let's go.
I am
awesome.
very
Awesome.
excited.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
All right. You ready to
They're
get
looking for the
excited
next.
about?
They're looking for the next Seth Smith, man.
Yeah.
That's where they're gonna find
There
it.
you go.
I was always thinking about it after I debuted and broke the youngest. I was like, records are meant to be broken, and I really hope somebody gets to
Ain't
come
that
in
the
and
truth?
break my record one day.
There you go. That'd be cool, man. That'd be cool. All right. You want to get something else to get excited about? You ready for this?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous too, but I'm excited.
Do you play fantasy football?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what this all means then.
Oh,
You
I
know
know
exactly
what everything means. I'm a
There
little
you go.
nervous. I'm a little nervous.
This is to give you a little bit of a background. So Vandy, longtime college buddy of ours, he actually never played rugby, never watched rugby a day in his life. Okay. We got him into fantasy football back as college roommates. We've been in the same fantasy football league for the past 15 years. It's been great. And we brought him on, and this is our guinea pig to learn rugby through fantasy sports because he loves it so much. And this guy's a savant now when it comes to MLR and rugby just because of fantasy. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. So you have your Yellow Rose tournament, man. We got our Fantasy Ruckers, so we're trying to do our part here as well. So let's get into it. If I had to guess, we always ask all of our guests on the show. If you had to guess where you rank among all front row players in the MLR, where do you think you are?
I would say being a hooker and with the tries off of mauls, I want to say I'll be above average. So maybe
Okay.
I would say I'm above average. I mean, because
Okay.
like point wise and all that with the tries scored off mauls, and because a hooker's gonna get more tries than some of your props. So I'm gonna
Seth
say
already knows the meta. He already knows the meta.
Look at this guy. He's done his homework.
okay. I'm gonna say maybe like an upper middle. I think that's gonna be my guess.
Well, upper middle, I think, is a little bit modest because you finished off, man, as the 16th best front rower in all the MLR.
16th.
16th.
Yeah.
59.1 fantasy points this past season. So pretty impressive, Seth. You did and improved. I know you and I were going back and forth in terms of if you just want to see improvement here, right? You just want to see you getting better. You had 59.1 this past season in 2024 in the limited games that you had 34.1. So you're up and to the right, man. You're getting better each and every year.
Oh, that's good.
And you can see your stats here. Electric helped fantasy managers in that 14th week with 13.6 fantasy tries. Pretty solid, man. Big time. A guy that was a big time pickup this past season for sure.
Yes.
There you go. If you had to guess who the best front rower is, who do you think?
Best front rower. It's somebody that we've been talking about today. I think it might be Liam.
Damn
Liam
close,
Coltman?
brother.
Okay, wait. Let me take another guess.
It's a trick question. It's a trick question because this player had a little bit of time subbing in at other positions.
Ooh. Oh, I think I have another really good guess.
Okay.
Hugh Roach from San Diego.
Hugh Roach.
Oh,
Another very good
that's
guess.
close.
Oh, my
So
Same team, same team.
Oh, same team, front row. Is it Shiloh?
Shiloh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shiloh,
dang, I was so
150.
close.
So just to put into perspective, so you had 59.1 fantasy points, pretty solid. Shiloh had 115.8. Liam Coltman, 112.7.
Oh, I was right there.
You're right there. It was pretty damn close. Just to put things into perspective, the disrespect that fantasy MLR right now gives to front row players, Joe Mono had 187.2 fantasy points, and he was our best fantasy player this season.
They gotta put some respect on the front row. Gotta
You ain't
up
the
our
first
tackle
suggestion with
points.
that. Yeah, I know. We got to add those breakdown entries, those ruck points, all that good stuff in there.
All the dirty
Jonah
work.
Moe, Jonah Moe was number 2 at 184.2.
That's a lot of
Pretty impressive,
points.
man. Hey, we'll see. And all I can say is if we see you in an MLR jersey again, I think that 59.1 is going to be up a little bit higher for you,
I'm
Seth.
hoping.
Where we
I'm
have
hoping next year. Hoping next year. I wanna, I wanna try and double it.
there you okay. Okay, I love to
I
hear it.
like that.
I love
I
to hear
like
it.
that.
Well, hey, Seth, I appreciate the time, man. Maddie, Vandy, I think we all appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah.
You can again, I think not gonna lie here, one of our best interviews. Just I appreciate
Yeah.
the insight. And you can feel
The
the
energy.
passion of what rugby means to you, man. And I meant it. You are the epitome of what MLR is supposed to be, a league that grows rugby from the ground up, and you're living proof of that, man. And to know that you're trying to pass that on to other people with the tournament that you're helping out and kind of being that example, man. Kudos to you, dude, because we couldn't be more thankful for the time, but also for you sharing that message, man. Because as us being passionate rugby fans, we need people like you, man, to keep it alive and people that we look up to, and then play the game the right way.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on. Like I said, I've been very excited for this. I've been waiting. I've been waiting, so I'm very
Hey,
excited I got on. So thank you.
waited too long. We should have had you on sooner, man. But hey, appreciate the time, dude, and we'll definitely have you. You are now a official longtime member of the show. You're a friend of the show.
Oh
We're
yeah.
bringing you on a bunch of times, man.
Let's go.
All
And
right,
I might just hire as my motivational coach.
there you
Oh
go.
yeah.
Appreciate it, Seth.
Yeah, thank
Cheers,
you.
buddy.
All right, and thanks again to Houston Sabercats Seth Smith for joining the show. Maddie,
What?
what do we?
I mean, just a ball of electricity.
Yeah.
I gotta say that, if any kids or parents are watching, um, that's the type of attitude and I think character that all rugby coaches are looking for.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like through the way that he was talking about Pote, Human, and Heineke Meyer, the way that they treated him as a young guy,
Yeah.
just shows the respect that I think these, coaching legends have had for a guy like him, not just the player that he is, which is an absolute class player, but just a class individual overall. So that was awesome. It was cool to hear him just talk about his experience. It was cool to see him get passionate and emotional about his experiences. And man, I think that one's going to be a pretty big hit.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me feel even more so for kind of the whole Houston Sabercats situation. But I will say, I said my confidence or my lack thereof and my worry was at a 6 at the start of the episode. After that talk with Seth, Maddie, I'm back at a 3, baby. We ain't worried. The positivity
Let's
is
go
flowing through my veins.
That's what I'm saying.
That is,
I'm at a 1.
Vandy said it. We need him as a motivational speaker, but man, that is the exact mindset we need. And you know what? Damn right. MLR is going to keep on living on. We need people like that, and we'll be fine. Positivity. That's the big thing I'm taking out of that with all that went down. But again, appreciate the time. The player insight was incredible. Just the whole process, you could tell, and kind of what we were speculating about at the start of the show was just, it really blindsided all of us. And you can throw the players in that too, in terms of finding out that the Houston Sabercats will not be participating in 2026. But either way, like I said to him off the air, no doubt in my mind that Seth Smith is going to find bigger and better things to do here moving forward when it comes to his rugby career. All right, Maddie, let's wrap up the show talking a little bit about some international rugby and some money that we need to be putting down on it.
TFR Betting Challenge.
All right, time to wrap up this episode 168 with the TFR Betting Challenge. Maddie, I did some looking back on some of these crazy lines. Obviously, the big talk is going to be Rugby Women's World Cup, right?
Yep.
Obviously, saw some crazy lines last week. Shocked you,
Yep.
Maddie. We got two semifinal matchups coming this weekend. We had a little bit of rugby championship last weekend, which had some pretty shocking results as well. They're on break, I believe, this week, so none of that here this week. But just so that you know, Maddie, your hit last week, you said Argentina would cover that -5.5 for Australia. They, of course, did. Not only covered, but won outright. Would have been fine with the money line. 28.
I crushed it, people.
The one that was not so great was the New Zealand favored by
Whoa.
-4.5 somehow lost to South Africa
Did I
43.
not say South Africa?
Yeah, I did. I think you did. I don't know if that was your
I
pick for
did.
the
I
week. Your
did
pick,
say it. I did. My pick was Argentina because always Argentina, but I did also say South Africa. I said it. Crazy things happened in Sky Stadium in Wellington, and South Africa came in the second half and absolutely dominated.
you did say that. All right. Just to kind of give you perspective, because Maddie, we're still dabbling and learning about this Women's Rugby World Cup thing. We're down to the 4 best teams.
Yeah, but we're semifinals. We got to lock in.
We got to lock in. So just to give you some context, Maddie, you were pretty shocked about the lines last week. So South Africa was underdogs by 30 and 38.5 points against New Zealand, who did end up winning, but they did cover 46-17. Canada, Australia. Australia was underdogs by 23.5. They did not cover 46-5 victory for Canada. France and Ireland, a 23.5 point spread in favor of France. Damn right, Ireland covered by 5 points, keeping that within there. So they covered that one. England, Scotland also covered. The line was 40.5 there. England only winning 40-8. So 3 out of the 4 matches they're covered, Maddie. So if you have made that same bet that time before when we bet on the USA women's team against England, you would have been okay, but not in this case. Either way,
Nope.
we got 2
Ain't
matches.
going to be that easy this time.
We got 2 matches coming up this weekend, 2 semifinals, big time. Everyone's tuning in. We got New Zealand and Canada, which in my eyes is a pretty damn close final, and England and France. So which one do you want to start off with, Maddie? You want to start off with the
Let's
Friday
start with the
matchup?
tough one. Yeah, let's
All
start
right.
with the tough one.
Friday matchup, what do you think the line is?
I mean, the line's got to be,
Or I should say the spread.
yeah, the spread has to be New Zealand favored by, I'm going to say 3.5.
Right on point. New Zealand favored by 3.5.
Yep.
Canada is plus 130 underdogs here. Does that at all entertain you? Does the bias with that Canadian jersey behind you entertain that whatsoever?
Oh, I like that. I like that. I would take them to cover at least. I would take them to cover at least. But look, this New Zealand side is tough. They're a good squad. And yeah, I mean, that's going to be a tough one for Canada. But look, Canada's right up there.
Such a bummer that they're meeting in the semifinal.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to bet on. I'm going to say I think the money's going to be at this France England one because I think the spread's going to be a little bigger here.
Would there be any inkling for you to, rather than taking the plus 3.5 points, just take the money line outright at plus 160? See if you can make some money. What are your chances that Canada just wins?
I mean, I'd do it just because I'd want to see him win and something to cheer for. But like, that's just a tough one. That's a tough one to really, if you really want to make, like, if you're going just purely for the bet, that's a tough one to bet on.
All right. So then on Saturday, Maddie's thinking that the value lies in this one. France taking on England. What is the spread, Maddie?
And I mean, England's got to be favored by 7.5, 10.5, 10.5.
Final answer.
England's favored by 12.5.
Final answer?
Yeah.
How about a little bit higher?
Yeah. 20.5?
19.5. England is favored by.
This is semifinal rugby. I would take France to cover that.
You're so gonna get
It's semifinal rugby. I would take France to cover that. It's
where are they? Okay, so France in the.
I mean, look, England.
France is
England has blown out pretty much every game that they've played, which is pretty ridiculous. It's dumb. Actually.
It is crazy how many more points they have over every other.
I mean, look, that's why they're the first ranked team in the world.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That scares me. That scares me. France at plus 19.5 or Canada at plus 3.5. Which underdog are you choosing?
I would go Canada plus 3.5.
He's scared. He's scared.
I'm terrified. I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay. To wrap up the show, though, I wanted to end on one final note. In light of both Canada and USA qualifying for the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Let me give you the odds, Maddie, of either Canada or USA winning the World Cup. Canada is at plus 100,000. USA is at
low.
plus 80,000. If I had a gun to your head, which one are you picking?
I mean, I would go USA, but like, man, those are kind of low. I'd wait for both of them to get over Canada to get over 150,000.
You think they would draw? I think that's as low as
They
it's
got
gonna
to.
get, buddy.
They got to. They got a full year to disappoint the books.
There you go. All right.
And same with the US.
Fair
right?
enough. Fair enough.
So I think they could drop. But if you want to take some long odds, I would say
USA at 80,000.
I'd
Bet a
say
dollar.
USA at
Bet a
80,000.
dollar. Get $8,000.
Bet a dollar. No, bet a dollar, lose a dollar. That's how it
Bet a
works.
dollar, lose a dollar. New Zealand favored at plus 250. All right. Yeah, I'm still trying to get over that Seth Smith interview. Just fantastic stuff there. Really,
Yes.
really insightful stuff. And is why we bring guys like him on the show to get us some insight into what it is like to be an MLR player, especially during times like this when, hey, we're on an edge, man. And we're just trying to figure out how we can make it to 2026. Maddie, anything left for the people?
No, just honestly, I can't say anything more than what Seth has already said. So just take everything that he said, bundle up in a ball, put it in your lip, and just juice that thing dry.
All right. Well, for Matt Yee, for Devin Vandy Vanderpool, like you said, pack a big ol' Smith chaw is what you're saying. I'm Ryan, and we'll see you on another episode of the Fantasy Ruckers Show.
You heard?
You've been listening to the Fantasy Ruckers Show, bringing fantasy rugby to the masses, covering everything rugby from the MLR and beyond. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and be sure to tell all your friends. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, connect with us on social media at the Fantasy Ruckers. Till next time, this is the Fantasy Ruckers Show, signing off.